What's going on, everybody? Let me know if you can hear me in the comments. Last minute stuff. Of course, I've been working. All these guys have been working, and sometimes these streams just sneak up on you. So we want to make sure we're all prepared, at least as prepared as we can be. So we want to welcome you to the stream. Thanks for being here. If the sound is pretty good, just let me know. Let's go ahead and introduce Eric and Adam. Of course, both of the co-hosts. This week I'm hosting, so how are you guys doing, Eric and Adam?
Adam, take it away.
Well, doing well. Thanks for hosting this week, Rodney. Y'all were sorely missed last week, but I think Dexter and I had some fun.
Oh yeah.
Learned a lot, even myself. But like you said, life has been just super busy right now, trying to not only get some of these solar projects done, but also dealing with, you got to mow the lawn now. You got to, clean outside. It's nice out. You don't want to spend it all day out inside. So
Yeah.
just busy.
Yep. And you, Eric?
Yep. Man, last week we were down at Pedernales State Falls Park in Pedernales Falls State Park. I always say it the other way around, and Pedernales is hard to say anyway. Down in Hill Country, outside Austin, north of San Antonio. Man, beautiful place, super cool. We went down there, had some relaxing time, just camping out, and yeah, it was great. But of course, when you do that, you come back and you've got all the things, compounded, and you got to just get over it and bite the bullet, take care of that. Today, I spent all day over at my buddy Mitch's house working on his Grid Boss Flex Boss build. We yanked the meter and then realized that things didn't fit the way we thought they would. So, yeah, that's always fun.
That's always how
so
it
we're
is.
like frantically just like trying to get things to fit and get the the 2-watt cable stretcher out and all that stuff, and it didn't really work as well as I was hoping, but we got the power back on. I'll be back out there first thing in the morning to try to get it safer. Yeah, that's where I'm at on that. But man, just it's good. Thanks for hosting tonight, Rodney, and Adam. Thanks for holding it down while we were gone last week.
Not
yeah.
a
So
problem.
everybody, you probably saw the thumbnail. What we're going to be talking about tonight is a little bit of hurricane preparedness, especially, in regards to solar power. This ain't going to be about your food and water and all that kind of stuff. If we talk about it a little bit, we do, but it's more of power related. So, you and your family, you want to be as prepared as possible. So this season, the NOAA 2025 hurricane season outlook is going to be above normal for the Atlantic hurricane season. So, I'm in North Carolina, and a lot of people don't think of North Carolina as being hurricane prone, but we probably get hit by more hurricanes than anybody because we're just sticking out, So I'm about whatever, who knows, more than 50 miles from the coast, but we still get bombed with rain a lot of times, and that's our problem where I stay at, and that's how we've lost power during Matthew and stuff like that, and we lost power for 4 or 5 days because of flooding in the county, and you really couldn't get anywhere. So that was one thing I was kind of like, I had the prepper kind of mindset, I guess, before that. But that's when I said, I want some solar power or a way I don't have to run a generator all the time. So let's go ahead and look at what we got here for 2025. Basically, it's predicted to have 13 to 19 named storms, 6 to 10 hurricanes, and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. And the key factors are the warmer Atlantic, reduced wind shear, and the active African monsoon. I'm not a weather person. I don't know what all this means. This is all from the NOAA, so you can go check out their link right here if you're interested. I didn't have time to actually prep it to put it in the chat, unfortunately. But if you just go to their website and put like 2025 hurricane season, it'll go ahead and pop up for you. So
hey, go back real quick. I was gonna.
All right, go ahead.
Want to grab that link there. I'm just gonna. Okay, cool. I'm gonna make sure this works, and I'll move on. I'll get it in the chat.
All right. Outstanding. And let's go ahead before we, talk about this for 10 or 15 minutes or whatever we're going to do. I'm going to go over to the chat and say hello to some people because definitely forgot to do that. Um, of course, we got Mike Camp, we got John Montgomery, Jim, Chuck, John Guyver, R3BU77. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce any of these. Russell, Mike, Betty Powers, Unijab, NX2000. Let me see here. Rod Solar World, Joe Smith. Let me see. Did I miss anybody? If I miss you, just go ahead and leave another comment, and I'll try to go ahead and say hello to you. Sometimes it looks like the same names. Donnie. Bam. And let's jump back
Oh, you know
on
what
it.
actually might be interesting is we could just run down the leaderboard. That way you don't miss anybody.
There you
Um,
go.
Okay, how
Yeah.
do you do that?
He can't see
Well, you
it.
got to. Yeah. Oh, you can't see it on your end, man. You really need
Yeah.
to go open up the actual video. I think you've got the live stream open typically, but do the
I got it
pop
on
out
my iPad, but where's that at?
on your
So the
iPad.
top right-hand corner, click the little crown, or
Yep.
click anybody's crown that you see in the chat, and now it's got this fancy leaderboard thing.
Yeah.
Jim talks a lot,
Oh,
apparently.
okay. Jim, number one. I see it now. Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay,
Yeah, that is
so
cool.
I haven't seen that before. This is a new thing to me. But if
It's
you
new
want
to
to
all
be
of
the
us.
leader, I guess you leave the most comments. I'm guessing that's how it works. And you can beat out Jim, but apparently he's killing everybody right now. So
And it might pay to be the leader. I'm just saying.
yeah, oh yeah, could definitely pay. So y'all definitely gonna want to stick around for this stream. That's about all we can say at this point. But basically, what I always want to do for hurricane preparedness, a lot of times we're going to know in advance. You know, that's just the great technology we have now. You're going to know days in advance. So when you know a storm is coming, what I'm always going to do is make sure my batteries are charged and not use them. I know a lot of people may be completely off grid and you got to do what you got to do. But even if you run the generator some right before the storm gets there to make sure your batteries are as topped off as possible, so you don't got to go out in the hurricane or, you know, when stuff is still dangerous and you can still run power in your house, that's what I would recommend. What do you guys think about that? Nothing. Okay. I guess they have no comment on that.
I was reading the chat.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
no,
didn't pay attention to
I
what
got
you
you.
said. I'm sorry. Busted.
But about
Something
basically charging your
interesting, and I
batteries
wasn't.
fully before the storm gets here. That's just
Yeah,
basic
yeah. So
what everybody will do.
yeah, so for us, a lot of us down here, more in like the South, you know, or whatever, unfortunately we don't really deal with the hurricanes as much, but we definitely deal with the tornadoes, as I've seen come up a couple times in chat. And yeah, it's like if we see a big storm front coming, yeah, it's charged, top off the batteries, make sure they're full. For the hurricane stuff, yeah, I don't know if you said it, but top off your gasoline too, or diesel or whatever it is. Make sure you're ready to go, and yeah.
And these things, same things, of course, are going to apply to any kind of storm. So if you're in the Northeast or somewhere, the Midwest, and you got a snowstorm coming and you know it, it's basically going to be the same thing. Just be prepared, you know, to take care of yourself for a few days. I know everybody watching this stream is going to be, you know, taking care of themselves. But if you take care of yourself and you're ready, you can help your neighbors or your family or other people. If you can't help yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else for sure. So I always try to lend out stuff. If you have extra generators or power boxes or whatever you can, hey, you just do what you can to help out others, and especially during power outages, because those are terrible. And
Yeah,
another thing,
I mean,
go ahead, Adam.
a lot of your slides are going to be more towards the hurricane prep, but like you've both said, you know, it can really apply to any storm but even between the three of us, you know, I'm up in Michigan, Rodney, you're down in North Carolina, Eric, you're over in Texas. So we've got a huge section of weather
Yeah.
from across the US, and we all get different things, but it's all going to really apply the same way. You know, you've got a lot of prep to do for preparing for any storm.
Oh yeah. And so tying down equipment, solar panels, if you have a tilt array like I have, what I would like to do, I like to flatten them out. I don't have pictures of everything. I would like to have pictures. I just didn't have enough time to prep all the slides. So, you know, I'm doing the best I can. But you just want to be ready in all ways possible. And then if you're in a flood zone and you know your house could possibly be flooded and depending on how your batteries and stuff are, you may be tempted to move some of that stuff temporarily, or even mount it ahead of time higher than what your flood zone or flood rating or whatever it might be. That's probably what I would try to do. If not, you could disconnect the equipment, put your batteries up higher. I know batteries are really heavy now, but it might be worth it to do at least one just in case you have a problem, and you can disconnect any of them that's still on the water, and then connect back your inverter after everything goes down. So
I got a question for everybody in the chat while you're switching to the next slide or whatever you're getting ready to do. But for those of you in the chat, put just the number 1 in the chat if you deal with hurricanes mostly. Put a 2 in the chat if you deal with tornadoes mostly, or put a 3 in the chat if it's a flip of a coin, you could get either of them. And I'd be curious just to see, as you're talking about things, what people are more prone to having to deal with.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a good comment. Let me go ahead and throw it up here. Freeman says, live high up on a hill. If it floods here, they better start pairing up animals. Oh man,
That's
that was
right.
pretty good there. All right. And then the next thing is shut off. I'm looking over here because I can see the slides. I don't know why I'm not looking forward. Shut off non-essential loads to conserve battery power. It's just basic common sense, but some people might not think about it when a storm is coming. You're still just running your daily life, but you might want to stop drying clothes and stuff that may not be 100% necessary, because you never know how long you're going to lose power. Like I said, back in Hurricane Matthew came through, and I don't know, when was it? 2015, 2016, 17, sometime. We were out of power for like 4 days, going on 5 days. And I'm nowhere near the coast. I mean, I'm an hour away, basically, drive. So if it can hit me this far away, I mean, it could definitely hit a lot of people, these big storms, because we got like 20-some inches of rain in like 12 hours or something crazy. I mean, it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So just try to be prepared as possible. And we're going to go ahead and talk about protecting your equipment, of course, like tying it down from flying debris. You can cover up your solar panels. I've seen some people's videos where they cover them up with plywood and stuff like that. Now,
Yep.
I'm not going to take it that far personally, but I'm not that close to the coast where the winds might be a problem. If the winds are going to be a problem, you might want to do that, or you might even want to take your panels down depending on how your setup is. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Eric.
I think anything that looks like a sail, feels like a sail, kind of tends to work like a sail.
Yeah.
You said you make your array flat. That's a great idea. I know some people, a lot of guys, are just using like sandbags and stuff like that as ballasts on like skids.
Yep.
Might not be a bad idea to throw a few extra weights on there, do something like that. Yeah. I don't know. Is this a real picture here with this ratchet strap over the?
No.
It's
just
ChatGPT making something fun.
Yeah, that's AI generator stuff. It's just,
Yeah, just hold it down.
for
I was just like, man,
Conceptual.
like I can't quite figure out, what that would
you
be
don't want to
doing
do it
there, but
exactly
that's-
like that. That's just a visual, everybody. It's just a visual.
the next hurricane, you get all these guys taking
Yeah.
selfies by their ratchet straps.
Yeah, everything ratchet strapped to the
solar
roof.
panels.
Oh man, that is funny. And so,
I mean, you got to think of it though. You've got so much invested in this,
Yep.
as much as you wouldn't want to spend all this extra time, covering it up with a piece of plywood or strapping it down. Think of what you would have to do if you had to replace it all because you lost it all.
and
I
definitely
mean-
get it prepared ahead of time, but way before a
Yeah.
storm is coming. Like, you go and prep it right now. What is the guy's channel? He's down in Florida. He does like kind of homestead and stuff, and does a bunch of solar projects and welding. I can't remember what the channel's called, but he has basically wood that he can put over there, and he's already got it prepped, and he's already got brackets made,
Yeah, I
and he
think
can
I've
just
seen
throw them
that
up.
guy. Yeah.
So I can't remember what channel's called, but I like his stuff. He does a lot of projects.
Hey, while we're talking about stuff breaking because the weather or whatever, I got to bring up, because this is something that I think a lot of us, well, if you're like me anyway, you might skip out on. You know, as my homestead iterates and gets larger and larger, and we add bigger things and more things, and add an outbuilding here and add an outbuilding there, it's really easy to forget to call up your insurance agent and say, "Hey, by the way, I've yeah, Kelly's Country Lifestyle. That's right." It's really easy to forget to call up your agent or get on your, you know, online or whatever, and you know, get that extra outbuilding placed on your insurance or whatever it is. So I just had to go back through that on mine, and I'm realizing that I went from a little barn that was on it to a big barn full of all of this stuff, and I still had like $3,500 worth of coverage on it or something
Yeah.
like that.
Mm.
So just a reminder, might be something you want to do. I think they call it adulting, but you know, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nah.
And everybody's on here talking about stuff that's happened to them. You know, in Puerto Rico, Hurricane Maria, where we were without grid power for 7 months. Now that is
Good
crazy.
grief.
7 months. So that shows you, you know, I mean, if it can happen there, I mean, it can happen to other places. Here in Western North Carolina, everybody saw last year. I mean, there's still people that their houses aren't there. There's no power, and it's still like that. That was months
There's
and
never
months
gonna
and
be
months
power,
ago.
yeah.
And like some of them may never get power back on some of those roads and places. It may never get back. So it's just crazy. So you always have to be prepared. And I see some other people off grid wannabe. 2 ice storms, snowstorms, whatever this year, grid down 4 to 5 days each time. In the cold, it's
Yep.
definitely going to be important to be prepared. Even if it's not with solar, with something like propane or some way to heat your house, wood, you know, wood's going to be, you know, probably the best thing when you have a power outage, because you don't have to try to blow anything around. You can just burn it and sit next to it and
Unless it's
be
all
fine.
wet.
Well, yeah, that too. But hopefully you have your stuff ready. All right, let's go back over here. So we're going to get into kind of recommendations, what we would recommend for a few different situations. Like one being, if you want to kind of power your whole house, and maybe not long term, but just for a few hours of a power outage, what we would kind of maybe something more budget or mobile friendly. So my pick, let me see if I can get to it, for like a whole house, and maybe not being able to run the whole house a long time, but the 12,000 XP, you know, you can run a lot of stuff and have some high loads, you know, temporarily, you know, with just 1 or 2 batteries, and that'd be a good backup system, even if you don't have solar, and you can just charge the batteries back if you had a generator already or something like that. So that is one inverter I definitely like if you're trying to run multiple things at the same time. But like I said, you're going to burn through the battery faster because it's a bigger inverter. And then the 6,000 XP would be another good option. So what do you guys recommend for just some backup power? Maybe even if they don't have solar.
For the whole house, just get everything back up and running. Yeah, I
Even if
mean
they're only
the
running one
12,000
thing at a time, but just being able to run whatever they would like to run.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say 6,000 XP would be sufficient. 12,000 would be great, so you don't have to really monitor it a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, you still have to deal with being able to draw twice as much power. But yeah, I mean, either of those are fantastic. Pretty much, you know, some of the easiest stuff that you can install.
Oh yeah. And so I went on ahead, because I always forget, and put our website on there. Our website, that's just funny. Unplugged.solar, and it has all of our links. So if you guys want to go out and get something and support us, that's where all the information is going to be at. And let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And then with the EG4 Power Pro battery, I got 15 kilowatts on here, but it's 14.3 kilowatts. And so that is a good option to pair with this thing. And if you're just doing minimal stuff like running a fridge, let me go ahead and pull that up. So if you're just running a fridge and you just want to run some lights, this is what a modern fridge is going to use basically in 12 hours. Basically a half a kilowatt. So I thought it was a lot more than that. And so we might have to do some testing on this, but that is not much at all. And this is from a cold refrigerator. An older, less efficient one might be a little over a kilowatt. So if you have one of these batteries, you can definitely run your stuff for a day or two and still run some lights and other, like your TV or internet and stuff like that, and be fine. Now, this ain't talking about running air conditioners and all that. This is bare minimum, your food, keeping that good, and, you know, maybe some comfort items like the internet, if it's working. If you have like Starlink or something.
Yeah, I'd say
works
the
like
internet,
ours
man,
now.
I think the internet is, more than a comfort. I say that's one of the first places, if you can,
Yeah,
because like if you're
because you get
cable box or
information.
if you're on cable, yeah, if you're on cable and the whole, you know, city, county, whatever's out, then yeah, I mean, the odds are that they're going to be out as well. But if you've got satellite any way, shape, or form, or any of these other options, and keep those routers up, even for just home automation. Like I've got UPSs on basically all of my um, any of the sensitive smart plugs and stuff that I need to make sure they're running so that the house just stays going. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Let's go back to the slideshow if I can get to it. All right, there's some pictures on the wrong thing here. Bam. And a backup generator. So even if you don't have solar panels and you have a generator and then you can charge back a battery, and just if you only run at night, you have a little solar generator you can charge the battery back, or this system you can charge the battery back with a generator. You run the generator for a few hours instead of having to run it like during Matthew. I ran my generator like 18 hours a day, because I just didn't want to be uncomfortable. We had, we still did school. My kids are homeschooled. They still did school. They still watch TV, just do the basics. Ran the refrigerator, of course, and whatever else little stuff we needed. And I just wanted to be comfortable. I didn't want to be without kind of normal-ish life, even though we didn't have like the HVAC running and stuff like that. What do you guys think?
Heck yeah, man. I think anytime you can be the house that's that's comfortable with everybody else is having issues, it puts you a step up, and it allows your significant other and your kids and everybody to see a little bit of preparedness, and then just kind of helps propel the whole movement forward for
Yeah.
sure. But also there's the downside of it. If you've got the generator just and it's 12 o'clock at night, you live in the city, and
Yeah.
everybody else is down, you might want to think about that.
Yeah,
So there's
that's why I
lots to
like the whole
consider for
generator
sure.
during the day to charge the battery back, and at night you can be silent.
Hmm.
I
That's
definitely like
right.
that
That's
option.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, and the power outages never really happen when it's super nice outside, unless you live where I do. So usually you're ridiculously hot outside and you're trying to make it somewhat bearable in the house, or it's freezing cold outside and you're trying to just not freeze in the house. So you may stop and think that, oh, it's just comfort, but no, there's something to
and
that.
and it can be dangerous
Surviving.
for sure, because
Yeah.
like my power
It
went
can.
out and it was in the middle of the storm, and you know what I did? I went outside and I was like, I got to get this generator started. And then like a fence panel from the neighbors a couple of houses down starts blowing at me towards me. I mean, it was moving too. I'm like, oh man, I'm about to get murderated out here in my own yard. This is terrible. So yeah, you definitely got to be careful. And that's another thing. If you have solar and you got batteries, you're not gonna have to go outside in that. You can wait till the storm is over to go start your generator and charge a battery back. Depending on how long the storm is, but usually you'll be all right.
Just to ratchet strap your panels down.
Yep.
Yeah, and I want to, I know we've got a lot of veterans here are going to be like, okay, we talk about this, we all know this, but there's also a lot of new people here. And so when we're talking about running off your generator versus running off of your batteries, even if it's a 12-volt deep cycle battery, whatever it is, there's a deal called the turn down ratio, which is essentially, are you able to turn down the amount of power that's being used, and so, or being output on your generator? Man, you crank that thing up and like you can hear when you put a real heavy load on it and it gets under pressure and starts bogging down and tries to go a little bit harder. But for the most part, the way it's running is the way it's running. And if you have 6,000 watts being put out of that generator, and you plug an iPhone into it, you're wasting 598 watts or whatever it is, and it's just going up in heat, smoke, and noise. And so the best possible thing to do is to use that generator to charge your batteries, and then you take those batteries, once they're fully charged, kill the generator, and then your battery is going to give you an infinite turn down ratio of, it's going to provide exactly what you're asking for and nothing more, minus the inefficiencies. And so that's the way we've got to be thinking about energy storage. And also, you're not wasting all that gas. You turn that gasoline into battery storage, and your battery storage into whatever it is that you need, and only what you need. So just want to get that out of the way real quick.
Oh yeah. And then solar panels, of course, if space and budget allows, we all know that. I mean, it's definitely a good option. But some people are not going to be able to do that in a town or a city or whatever. And maybe they got HOAs and all the other nonsense. Get out of HOAs, people. Get out. But anyway, don't let me get started.
Gone.
I'm on my own channel. I can't get
Nope.
myself in trouble. So, small solar generator. So, like, if you're not trying to do the whole house and you're just trying to do the very minimum, let's say you got some medical needs, like I have somebody I work with, their daughter needs insulin, and so you got to keep that stuff cold and all that. You got to have a backup plan for that. You don't want that stuff going bad. It is very expensive, so you want to keep that stuff good if you have those needs. And I would say get a small solar generator at a minimum and have it before the storm. Just have it charged up, and you can run that fridge quite a long time, like we talked about before.
Mhm.
I mean, it runs a lot longer than I thought, and it's not using that much power as long as it's cold already, and you're not constantly opening the door, just doing it when you really need to. So let's go back over here. What options do y'all like for the small solar generators, a budget one that y'all seen lately?
I really like the Opus or Oopies brand. Like that's probably my favorite non-mainstream brand. No,
Nope.
that's where I'm at. What about you guys?
I mean, the one that I've used significantly, even not so much for, emergency type backups, but the Anchor C1000. It's so small and portable, but it can output, I think it's like 1400 watts. And it's, easy enough to grab and take for whatever you need it for. I had it outside last week when I was using the electric trimmer. I mean, it's not just something that has to sit in your closet
Yeah.
or sit in your basement for that 1 or 2 times or 5 times a year that you have the storms. You can still utilize it at other times as well and make it worth the investment.
Yep, and here's a good option here. Build your own budget small solar generator. That is definitely an
Mm-hmm.
option. And you can probably get a lot more battery storage if you build it yourself, for the money you're
Yeah,
going to
you
spend.
definitely can get a lot more bang for your buck. But the reality is most people aren't going to do it, and the form factor is never going to be as nice.
Yep.
No.
So there's something to be said for having like a professionally engineered case that's built exactly for what you're doing. Now maybe someday someone's going to start putting out, and actually that's a great, maybe someone here needs to start this as a side hustle, is like 3D printing or building out some ABS cases that fit the typical cell sizes and have the holes in the right spots. And I don't know, that could be really cool. Like build your own DIY like mini solar generator. Have y'all seen
Oh,
anything
yeah.
like that?
I have
I mean,
not.
I built one a few years ago. But like you said, the size is just there's no comparison to what you can get pre-made.
Right. You did a rigid box, right?
Yeah. But I used
Yeah.
I used prismatic cells in mine, which a lot of these power stations end up using the cylindrical cells, which allow them to pack more in, but you don't get the power density, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And as you
At
can
least the
see,
ones that I took apart.
we all don't want our families to be trying to use candles and stuff during a power outage. Why? Because it's dangerous. Like, hey, if I had to, I definitely would. But, try to avoid using candles and stuff like that. So solar and battery backups, they're just safer. As much as people like to talk about lithium and fires and stuff like that. I mean, this stuff is very, very safe now, the Life Power 4 battery. So definitely safer than, I don't know why I keep moving, but definitely safer. Why does this thing keep moving? What's going on? Technical difficulties. Stop. Definitely safer than these candles here. Yeah. Oh man. So I guess that is most of my little slideshow, I guess. What time is it? 8:30. Man, that took longer than I thought it was going to take. So I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Go ahead. I'm sure I missed some good comments already, so go ahead and put them in there again and let us know what you think you should do to prepare for a storm, a hurricane, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to start bringing your comments up, and then we'll get a good discussion going, unless these guys got something they want to bring up already.
Well, I've got just a picture that I can share
Oh,
that really kind of surprised me when I saw the numbers for at least me here in Michigan.
let me see if I can
You know,
get
we've got quite a few tornadoes so far this year, and I want to say after our second day that we actually had tornadoes in, we had already surpassed the normal average that we have per year. So being
Yep.
this early into the year, I don't think we're going to I don't think the tornadoes are going to be very shy.
Yeah, man, that's crazy because
Yeah.
we're I guess we're halfway through the year at this point, almost. That's kind of nuts. So I did want to throw this out, like in the chat. Let us know when a storm comes. Like, what is your and maybe you could put I don't know, like SSS or something for storms, and so we could search for it. But I'm curious, like what's your prep? Like, what's your go-to for? Like, I grab the ham radio, I turn it on for start listening to the storm spotters. I turn on my favorite YouTube storm chasers because they're better than any local guys that I know, or any of the big stations or whatever around us. Like what do y'all do to stay on top of, because these tornadoes, man, they're popping up like crazy. I feel like we're in the same spot as you, Adam, that down here in Texas, like every other weekend there's not just a tornado, there's 15 tornadoes. So I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe Schmidt is coming in with some SSS. Let's see. My friend's gonna pull stuff up.
All right. Freeman says, buy an ice maker. So I guess that can help keep your
Buy
stuff
an ice
cold
maker.
if you got power
yeah.
to run that. But I
That
need some
actually
more.
does work well.
I need some more information, because if you're running the ice maker, can you just run the fridge? I'm just wondering. Like, I don't know.
I think it takes less energy. I think it
To
takes
run-
less energy to actually freeze those ice cubes and then dump them into a cooler than it does,
Okay.
in theory. But I tell you what, man, I've got the Ice Co. and then the what's the other set? Set Power. I think it's Set Power. I've got them sitting over here. The DC refrigerators and
Yep.
freezers, man, those things sip energy like 25 watts, and they're incredible.
Color Maker says candles are calming and aromatic. I guess that's what it is. Maybe I'm reading that right.
Aromatic.
There you go. I thought something didn't sound right when I read it. I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't right here.
Yeah.
John says you can roast marshmallows with the candles.
That's true. That's true. I do. So I've got a bucket of tea lights. Like I'll pick up if I see them on sale or something.
Yep.
Just little tea lights. They're very inexpensive, and I'll probably never use them again. But in the event we do need some light, or even heat for that matter, a single candle does put off some good heat and light.
Mm-hmm.
DC says, at what wind speed do you start tying up panels? I've had over 50-mile-an-hour winds that I haven't tied up anything, and my stuff's been all right. But I'm guessing this is more for people on the coast, because they're going to be typically, unless you're in a tornado, then you're not going to know in advance a lot of times. If you know bad storms are coming and you're in a tornado area, I guess you could tie your stuff up ahead of time if you're not going to be getting that much power anyway. But what wind speeds would you guys recommend, I guess?
Man, every weekend we get 50-mile-an-hour winds. So, I mean, it's, I don't know. But we're also down in like a bowl with trees all over. So most of the wind just goes over the top. But yeah, there's a National Weather Services spotted a thunderstorm heading your direction with winds up in the 60-mile-an-hour range or whatever. It's like, okay, here it comes again.
Yep.
Every once in a while they blow my panels over, but most of the time they don't.
Aren't your panels just laying on the ground
Oh, they're leaning up
for the
against
goats
the
to
fence.
walk on?
No, I stopped doing that because they did start ruining them. Yeah.
John
Actually,
says,
what really ruined them was the
Okay.
ants underneath. The ants would build a pile up underneath it, and then it would, get moist right around the connections or the
Oh yeah.
whatever. And so yeah, that was an issue.
cause a little fire.
The goats were, yeah, I did have a short.
All right, John says, crank emergency radio, water, emergency food supply, light, solar system of some type to give you at least some renewable energy to power at least the bare minimum stuff. Yeah, exactly. Everybody, let's just keep it real. You should already have enough food at your house to last a couple of weeks, regardless of what happens. If you don't, you're not an adult. I don't understand it. I'm not trying to be mean, but that don't make sense to me.
You're not a responsible adult.
If you've never been without something, I guess you just don't realize stuff can happen that is not good. I guess if you've been in bad situations, you realize. I've been without water temporarily, and I'm telling you, I don't go anywhere without water now. Not to haul my garbage off like a couple miles down the road. Nowhere. I have at least a bottle of water with me at a minimum. I even got water in here in the building with me. I just take it everywhere because I've been without, and it was not fun, and that was very, very temporary. Never be without water again. So if you think that these things can't affect you, you can surely be mistaken if there's an emergency situation.
I want to know how many rolls or cases of toilet paper people have put away. Man, I've got up here in the loft, I've got at least 3 cases of toilet paper, 3 cases of paper towels.
I bet I got more
baby
than you.
wipes. I said at least. I didn't want to sound like a crazy person. But
if I told you how much I had, y'all would say I was crazy. But I was giving people toilet paper.
A whole lot more butts to wipe.
I was giving people toilet paper during COVID and all that. I was giving my parents toilet paper. Everybody that couldn't get toilet paper, I was giving them toilet paper.
Doing TP drops.
I'm like, some things you don't want to run out of. I'm just telling you. So I'm not going to run out of toilet paper for a while.
Yeah.
All right, let's get off toilet paper here. Let's see what comments I missed.
It's a storm prep.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to be stuck without water and toilet paper.
Let's see here. Make sure things are inside or secured that could blow away. Yep, exactly. So I've definitely seen my trampoline blow halfway across my yard before, but that wasn't when a storm was coming. That was just a random little, whatever you call those little wind things.
Microburst or something.
Microburst.
I'm telling you, it messed my chicken fence up, ran into my solar array. Luckily, it ran into that. That's what slowed it down. If it wouldn't have, it would have ran in my neighbor's building. So I'm glad my solar array was there. Hey, and it took it like a champ.
Things are stout.
Let's see here.
Is this your adjustable one?
No, that was my first one, my main array. So non-adjustable stationary, luckily. So it ran into like the 6x6 or 4x4 or whatever I have at the back. I can't even remember. Should you place your equipment in a storm rated enclosure? That's a good point.
If you can.
It depends on where you live.
Yeah.
What are you dealing with?
The last thing you want to do is stick it all down in a basement and then, Adam, and then have your sump pump go out or something, and now you've got all your electricity down there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just depends. Like, where
Stop
are you?
Talking. That only happened once.
So Freeman says radar scope app. I've never heard of that. So that
radar scope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've heard good things about radar scope.
Yeah, I use that one all the time.
What? Yeah, Adam, you're probably the one who told me. Rodney, what radar app do you use?
None.
None. Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's I just use regular like weather channel stuff or whatever. That's it.
Man. All right.
Yeah.
You got to get one of these good ones though. Like Radar Omega is my favorite right now. So that one, man, you can the thing about it is like even my 12-year-old, man, he's like, Dad, I think there's a tornado. Or, no, he doesn't. I think he goes, Dad, there's a tornado. I'm like, I don't know. They haven't called it yet. And then like 10 seconds later, the National Weather Service is like, a tornado has been spotted. He's like, told you. So
Hey, I
yeah,
think this is the best one so
pretty cool.
far. You know, when you ask what people want to know and do during a storm, I want to know where Jim Cantori is exactly, because it's going to be bad wherever that guy goes.
Right.
Cantor or Cantori, I can't say his name. However you say
Yeah, I think it's it, Cantori.
it. Let's see here. And BY says prayers is my first thing I do when hurricanes are coming.
That is a good one.
That's good.
Yep.
Freeman says for your neighbor's food. Okay, I must have missed something.
That
Hold
was
on a minute.
that was the freezer thing.
Oh, the
Buying
freezer
the
thing.
freezer.
Yep. Let's see. Ice makers. If y'all see a comment that I need to pull up, let me know. I'm trying to go through the comments, everybody. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Mike Camp says, go to sleep. Oh,
so
man.
guys, okay, so I will say I was camping down in Hill Country, and we drove through Austin, and I guess we had car problems. It was overheating. I ended up took a 5-hour trip, turned it into a 12-hour trip, which was frustrating, and ended up my wife and I doing auto repairs in an O'Reilly's parking lot. Yanking
Oof.
hoses and doing whatever. We got it done. Then we drive through Austin, and we got delayed just a little bit after we got on the road. And I think it was a God thing too, because as soon as we got into Austin, or first off, we were watching the map and we saw tornadoes and stuff, or tornado warnings going through, and we got in there, and all the Apple Maps, all the roads were red. I mean, just like every road around Austin was red. And it kind of had us cutting through, bypassing the major highways and stuff, or the interstates. And we had trees across the road. We're like driving around trees. There's porta potties all over the place. I mean, it was nuts. And so,
is there going to be a video on his car breakdown?
No, there's really not, because I was, but it did make it a little cameo in my last video.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep. But then once we got there, we had no cell service, and of course, as a prepper and the a solar guy who's got all the battery backups and all the connections and all the stuff, I completely forgot half of what I was supposed to have brought on the trip, and so I didn't even have a plug to plug my Starlink in at the time, and so we get down. There's no cell service, and I couldn't plug in my Starlink, and anyway, a storm came through one of those nights while we didn't have it. And all we could do was just lay in bed and go, if it's our time, it's our time. We're in a camper in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, can't even check the map. And there was just a lot of peace and just going, oh, God, I guess we're going to be here or not, whatever. But at the same time, while I'm back at home, I do like to be prepared, because storms do happen. And if I can do something about it, I'm going to. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that. Thanks for letting me.
Mike's garage says, bring charge power stations in the house so I am ready to plug in refrigerators and other devices when the power fails. In North Carolina, the power goes out with the slightest storm.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Let's see here. I am trying to get to the bottom of these comments and trying to pull up some as I go.
Good luck.
Slow going. Let's see. Here's a Bahamas hurricanes. Plan to use a charge inverter to maintain batteries at 100% until grid fails. Not worried about my roof mounted panels except for flying debris.
Yeah. And by then, there's not much you can do, anyways. So
yeah. And John says, get all of your important papers and documents together. Pack clothes and food. As about like you're going on vacation, I guess. Be sure to have cash on hand. Credit cards may not be working. Yeah, I always have cash on hand. People at work make fun of me because they're like, Rodney's always got money. Because if you ever went anywhere and use your debit card and your bank's, got some fraud charge on it so it doesn't even work, what are you going to do then? Yep. I want to be able to pay for something. So I always have cash. And I tell my wife, I try to give her some cash to hold on to. But she likes to go to the thrift stores and all that stuff. Y'all, and man, she's like, I spend it. I'm like, That's for emergencies. Come on, use a debit card. Because a lot of okay, big families. My wife likes to go to thrift stores and find stuff on sale and used, and because sometimes you can find stuff new. So she likes going to those places. A lot of times they don't take cards, so they want to do cash. So she likes to spend it. All right.
Another thing I haven't seen anybody say is, man, make sure your vehicles are topped off on fuel. Yeah, that's a big one, especially when it's a telegraphed storm coming through.
Yeah,
Just
because
top 'em all off.
your car is a generator. If you have a car, it's a generator. Or if you have an EV, it's the same thing. You can turn that thing on, use the accessory mode in it. A lot of them will have a plug in it, or you can go straight to a 12-volt battery and put a little inverter on that, and you can run your fridge, run some lights, run the internet, because it's going to be constantly charging that battery back from the big battery. Maybe only up to like between 1,000 and 1,500 watts, depending on what kind of EV you have. You can look up the specs for it, and you can see, hey, this is the maximum rated power I can use because that's as fast as it's going to charge the battery. And you don't have to do anything but plug it up and burn that battery down over a couple of days, probably, but at that rate.
Well, and depending on where you live, keeping some fuel on hand if you have a chainsaw as well, because depending on where you live, around my house, there's trees all over the place and stuff comes down with any windstorm that comes through.
Yep.
It could be across the road. It could be, just something as simple as across one of the trails out back, but making sure that you have some way to be able to take care of that stuff as well. I mean, it could end up being that you're helping your neighbor cut up a tree that fell on their house.
Yeah. And if you have something, then oftentimes if I know a storm's coming, I'll go ahead and put the grapple on the tractor just so it's like, look, I know I'm going to be taking a tree across our third of a mile driveway through the woods. Like, it's going to happen. So just push it out.
And I got a super chat at some point. Bam.
Yeah.
Did they ever pop up? Want to be
didn't.
John off grid? Hey, thanks for the
it.
super chat. I definitely appreciate it. And I'm still trying to get to the bottom of the comments. Here's a good one. I never understand people that go to the store and only buy one single roll of toilet paper. Are you trying to quit? Oh man, that's pretty good there. Yeah, I don't get that either. I always like to have like a little bit of everything. What if the store don't have it? Like, look at COVID.
Yeah.
If you didn't learn something from COVID with the toilet paper and the hand sanitizer and all that stuff that you use, you should have a couple of weeks of it at a minimum, if not a couple of months, like just the basic stuff. Because a lot of times it's not going to take up a lot of room. Like some of this stuff, it takes us forever to use it. And just have some extras if you're able. I understand everybody might not be able to do that, but ground screws work great for the trampoline if you don't move it. I had ground screws in that thing, like when mine went flying, so I didn't have good enough ones, I guess. That thing
I mean, did you have like the little ones that you put in the middle of the yard and strap your dog to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What no big
Depends on your soil too.
Yeah. So I saw someone, who was it? Someone was asking, like, how much will they actually? John Guyver. How strong are those ground screws, the big ones? Man, so I was looking at that, and it looks like in hard soils, they can hold 1,500 to 5,000 pounds a piece. The high capacity anchors, like the penetrator, some of these can do like 4,000 pounds per anchor. I mean that's pretty significant. It's not nothing for sure.
James says, you guys permit your systems or bother if it's off grid? It depends on who you are, I guess. I'm not permitting anything, so not me. I guess it depends on where you live and how strict they're going to be. I did look up my county code stuff, and it really didn't have anything about solar, so I wasn't going to call and ask. If they are too lazy to put it in their stuff and say, hey, this is how much it costs, then I'm too lazy to tell them I got it. But that's just me. Don't be like me. Follow the rules, people. Oh, man. Let's see here. Joe Smith says, Adam DeLay, I bet you have a backup sump pump now. You have to run it occasionally, though. If it's from Menards, it'll just rust out in short order if it doesn't run. So you have a backup?
Actually, I don't.
What? Dude, come on. 2 is 1, 1 is none.
But so here's the thing with with my sump pump, really nothing drains into it other than the water softener, which only occasionally runs. So my issue was I had leaned, I had hit the pump, it tipped sideways a little bit and put pressure on the ball, and then it wouldn't let it turn the pump on. It wouldn't raise high enough to turn the pump on. So I came in here one day, and unfortunately, I did not have my camera because it would have probably would have made a good video. But I stepped into the room, and you feel that in your socks, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh no!" And I had cables running on the floor and everything. And that was just so sketchy.
Oh, looks like we got another super chat. Robert, hey, definitely
That's
appreciate it. It says, can you
awesome.
put a 6,000 XP and a 12,000 XP in parallel? Unfortunately, no. Unless
Nope.
something's changed
Not
that I don't know about,
correctly.
but yeah, not correctly for sure. Let's see here. There are ways to make one kind of your generator input and stuff like that, I think, but you know, it's not going to probably work the way you really want it.
Unfortunately, no.
All right, let me see here. Let me get back to the comments. Let me see here. Is this the one y'all were talking about with the ground screws that y'all were talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was one of them.
All right. Off-Grid Wannabe says, at least you folks don't have wildfires, at least not too many. There was wildfires near here in the last few months in North Carolina, so them things seem to be jumping around everywhere. And I don't know what's going on with that because it was in basically the county right next to us. And I'm like, man, what is going on? It's not supposed to happen here, but the weather was really dry for a while, and now it's been raining for weeks. That's why my projects aren't getting done. I should be off for the next week, basically, because that's the way my job is and my schedule. It's going to be raining and pouring and lightning every single day. I need to do my final connections, and I need to open up the equipment on the outside. Even though it's waterproof, it's not waterproof when you open it. So I have no idea if I'm ever going to get this stuff done. Every time I'm off, it's raining. I just don't know. It's just not my time to put in this new system, I guess, because it's not happening. Let me see here. James says water filtration is a good idea, like a live straw, and have a medic bag ready to roll as well with quick.
Oh yeah, it's another good idea.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Something you don't think
I'm a
about.
big fan of Quick Clot.
Let's see here. All right. Elkwood Bear says, if you're looking for an engineered DIY storm shelter, the U.S. Forest Service has a great set for free online. Detailed plans, above ground, 98% wood, and very doable in a couple of weekends alone.
Really?
Oh. So is that a tornado shelter that Kelly's Country Life built? Because I think he built that too, or Kelly's Country, whatever it is, his channel. He built one. Y'all got to go check that thing out. He's built a tornado shelter basically out of just wood. That thing is sturdy. Let's see here.
I'm gonna find that thing. Put a link in the description or in the the deal.
That build he did on that is pretty cool. I just couldn't remember what the channel name was, but he did a couple of cool builds. I'm trying to see what other comments we got here. If y'all want to talk about something, you go ahead while I'm looking through this. Let's see.
This thing is cool.
Adam, I sell what? Grunduffos? I don't know. Submersible pumps that are DC solar powered. Good idea to get one and tie it to a couple of panels. Grunduffs?
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that.
It's a Grundfos.
Okay.
Submersible well pump. It's pretty slick looking. I've actually seen those in person at a conference.
QQQ. I have 6 EG4 48 volt LL batteries going to my Magnum 4400 watt inverter. Should I use a fuse between batteries and inverter? Yeah, I mean, it is a good idea, but
yeah,
it just depends. I have the Victron links, and between all my inverters, I have a fuse. You know, so if something happens, at least those should be all right.
So I will say, and I put out a video on this last week or so. I need to go back and edit it because I absolutely was wrong. The mega fuse is not sufficient to replace a class T fuse. I thought they were, because they were rated for, up to like 58 volts or whatever, and the 250 amps, I think, is the one I've got. But you really do need that Class T fuse. And a lot of you guys, y'all are the ones that brought that to our attention, or my attention, and we even talked about it last week, or 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm going to be doing some research on that. The arc extinguishing abilities of the Mega Fuse is an order of magnitude less than that of the Class T. So I can't remember the numbers, but it's like way under capable. So yeah.
Yeah, better than nothing, but
Cool.
the Class T is like the Cadillac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think the Class Ts do they have sand inside them to help extinguish the arc?
They do. Yeah, they've got a silica sand in there or something like that. And yeah, it puts it out. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool tech.
Blah, blah, blah. These boys can't stop yapping.
Yep. They better get used to it.
What we're here
man.
for. This would be a really awkward hour if we just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll try that next week.
T-Class should have a 20K interrupt. I guess that's the spec you should be looking for. I'd have to look up all that stuff. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I don't
it's a
have any T-Class
20K
fuses,
interrupt. And the Mega Fuses are 2K or 2.5K. Some are like 3K. So yeah,
it'd be nice if we could do some testing and make them blow and just see. I mean, I don't know if you could tell the difference unless you had some super slow-mo cameras and some different equipment to see which one blows first and, all that. But that would be pretty cool if you had the equipment to do it.
It's easy to make it blow.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying to measure it.
Yes, to
that would be the
measure that's
problem.
different.
Oh man, what Class T fuse do you recommend?
I don't know at this point, but I've been looking at Victron's links. They're what is it? The
M8, M10.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the numbers on it.
I can't remember. One of them's M8, one of them's M10, I think.
Yeah, the M10.
Yeah, the 10s.
It's if I'm remembering right, it's got 2 short little fat Class T fuses. Typically you see long tubes. And actually, I'm wondering, each of the inverters always come with those big old fuses. Are those Class T fuses? Do y'all know the replacement fuses for the 6000 XPs and the other inverters? That you know they're not, or you don't know?
No, I don't think they are. I think they're just straight up DC fuses.
Okay. I was curious.
They might be more along the Mega Fuse style, but yeah, I don't believe they're Class T
because they do appear to be ceramic and cylindrical. So
now the ones in I think, is it the Grid Boss that has 2 monster fuses in them?
Yeah, I was just looking at those today.
I don't know if those are.
Eric, what LED light strips are you using? You might have a link on the site, right?
I don't have a link that I'm aware of. Behind me, it's the Govee. I can't remember which exact one it is. I don't think I still have the box. I used to be really bad at keeping every box for everything all the time. Yeah. But I like Govee just because they're pretty inexpensive. I'm going to be doing actually a pretty cool video on a Govee outdoor light here soon. Nanoleaf makes some great ones. I've got a lot of those inside. Yeah, Govee's the best bang for your buck, though, if you want the automation.
I haven't been looking at the time, and it's already 8:58, and we're going to do some special tonight. So, Adam, go ahead and take it away.
All right, so I reached out to one of my contacts to see if they'd be interested in giving us some giveaway products. And since tonight is really talking about, kind of a preparedness aspect for the storms, not only getting things ready at your home, but, making sure your solar system and even your house is ready to handle what can come your way. I had Midnight send me some of their SPDs. I don't know if this is going to focus or not. So tonight,
Surge protection device
actually,
for anybody that doesn't know.
yep, surge protection device. I actually have one box opened up. I don't have enough desk space, but it's a surge protection device that you can wire, depending on the model that you get, you can wire it to protect your AC panel connected to the grid. You can wire them up, connect to protect your solar panel charge controllers, your inverters. There's different voltage levels that we have. I think I have two 300s. And let me switch to this here. I caught myself in the last second. So we've got a Midnight 300 AC, a Midnight 300 DC, and a Midnight 600. So the AC 300 is going to be for your grid panel. It could be used if you have a sub panel. And what it does is it'll protect any surges that may come in from your grid supply lines or those long lines running out to a barn, or I think the recommendation is anything over 100 feet to like a sub panel in a barn. They recommend putting these on to help protect from surges. And the big reason is it's not like going to protect a direct lightning strike. These are designed for, even we just had the solar flares. They can introduce gradient pulses onto your grid lines, which then end up coming into your house. And these have the ability to shunt power, excess power to ground to protect your different devices.
And which ones are we giving away, Adam? Like just one, or are they getting a set, or?
So I think tonight we're going to do three separate. We're going to pick three separate names, and each person will get one different one. So we'll do, one person will get the 300 AC, one person will get the 300 DC, and then one person will get the 600.
Damn.
Very cool. Yeah. Thank you, Midnight.
Oh yeah, thank Midnight for sending this stuff out for sure. We appreciate it.
Oh, see, I keep doing that.
Uh-oh.
So I think what we're going to end up doing tonight is I am going to try and snag. Yeah, you'll want to get off mine for a second, Rodney. I'm going to try and grab all chats.
I don't know what's happening. Let me go back to myself here. I got to scroll over here. Bam! Me full screen while you get that set up.
There we go. So I'm going to go through all the chats, comment that from everybody tonight, and we're going to drop that into Google Gemini and have it pick out three names. And I told it to exclude myself, exclude Rodney, and exclude East Texas Homestead.
And after he gets it all prepped and gets it ready and pulls the names, we'll pull them back up. I just don't want to show everybody's information and his information out there. So you get to see my face for a minute or two. Just let us know when you're ready, Adam.
All right. So Google Gemini has picked three names. So Rodney, if you want to switch back.
Bam. Wait a minute.
And those three names are Joe Schmidt, Jim in Savannah, and Ujin BNX 2000.
Bam. Congratulations. Can you make that a little bigger so we can see it a little easier, or zoom in a little bit? It's small on my screen, so you're helping me out. Bam.
On your screen?
Yeah. On my teleprompter.
Oh.
Bam. I just got a picture.
So if those three can reach out to us, let's just use the live at East Texas Homestead link that we use for
I just put the
sharing
email.
Different sites.
I just put the email in the chat, so just use that email and email us with your name and information, and we'll make sure those get out to you.
Yep, we'll
And we
get those
definitely
sent out
appreciate
to you.
everybody being in the stream. We got 54 people in the stream, and we wanted to do this without telling anybody because we're trying to help the people out that are always helping us out, and they always show up every week, and we like hanging out, we like talking, and we definitely like learning. So, like Eric was saying earlier, we learn something new all the time about the T-class fuses, the mega fuses maybe not being as good. That's just stuff we don't know everything. I mean, we're just DIY guys, so we're just learning as we go. So we definitely appreciate everybody being in the stream. And if these guys got anything else, we'll go ahead and get ready to end this thing. Adam, Eric, y'all go ahead and let them know what you got coming up.
Go ahead, Eric. I'll let you start that one.
All right. Yeah. So I am wrapping up. And actually, I've been thinking about this for a while, so this should kind of heads up. I think I'm going to segregate out all of my solar stuff from here on out and put that on a new channel, and keep the homesteading stuff just homesteading stuff. And I know I hate doing that, but I think that's going to be the best way to move forward, because YouTube gets so confused when I go one day I'm talking about grid boss, and the next day I'm talking about harvesting flowers off a tree and making a tincture. And so it's like it doesn't work, and I've known for years that it doesn't work, but I'm going to do it. So I've got a huge series coming up on the Grid Boss and Flex Boss 21 build, connecting it through to a or with a Generac whole home a generator, all this stuff. I mean, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on. I've got the big battery over here. The what is it? The Husky 2. It's a Batman battery. That one looks pretty awesome. Looking forward to doing that. Got a whole bunch of stuff that's coming down the pike. But that's the biggest thing, is that stay tuned, because at some point I'm going to be starting a separate channel. And I don't want all of you guys to be like, what happened to all the solar stuff? So that's what's happening with that. But
I thought he said he was going to make a supper channel.
Yeah.
I'm like, a supper channel?
Yes. Yeah, we'll be smoking meats and eating wild game.
Making me hungry now.
Adam?
Well, I want to say thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Again, we wanted to try and do this little giveaway, a little kind of impromptu for those faithful few that continually come and join us week after week. We didn't really want to broadcast it just for, everybody to come and join, but you guys constantly come and listen to us talk every week. For some reason, I just don't get it. But I do want to thank Midnight Solar as well for donating the SPDs. We do have, they sent me a box of different things. And so I think we have the potential for 4 more random giveaways at some point. So thank you, Logan, for sending all that over. I appreciate you being willing to send that over. And I know these guys really, enjoy it, especially if they win.
Oh yeah.
So from my standpoint, I'm actually testing some batteries right now, which could be an eco-worthy competitor in functionality and in price. So I'm hoping that you guys actually cannot hear the charge verter running in the background, because I'm actually doing a discharge test over to my left. And that fan has just been driving me crazy the whole time. But I'm working on those. I have been working on prototyping a freestanding 6000 XP with that 100 amp hour wall mount battery. Just trying to see how can because I don't want to waste a dolly. I mean, there's so much that we end up using those for around the house. I don't want to strap a dolly to one of these things and then it's stuck there. So
yeah, I had one built on a furniture dolly, and I constantly needed that thing, so took it off.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make it freestanding. It's actually over to my right at the moment. I'm getting there. there's some things that I want to figure out about it first, but that will be coming at some point as well. And then, like our 3 winners tonight, I do have some of these that I need to install on
Just
on
show
my
us
house,
all how to do
on my
it.
solar
Me
systems.
too.
So I'm hoping
don't
that at
have
some
any.
point quickly I can get to doing that too. So thanks for Rodney. Thanks for running everything. Eric, thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course,
I'll hand it
thank
over to Rodney.
Eric and Adam. You know, they're great every week. I love having them on here, being able to talk to them and learn, and, you know, learning from the chat as well. And we'd like to thank Midnight Solar, of course, for sending this stuff out. We always appreciate brands that see what we're doing in the community and they want to help you guys out, and they just like being a part of the community as well. And we'd love for one of them to come on the stream. So Midnight Solar, Logan, or whoever Adam talks to, hey, go ahead and come on the stream. We'd like to invite you on at some point. And whenever you want to come on, just let us know, and we'll go ahead and schedule that up for you. And I guess we'll see you guys on the next one if I can figure out how to finish this live stream. We'll see you later, and thanks for watching. It gets covered up.